It's the Ross Tucker Football Podcast.
Yeah, it is. But it's not just any Ross Tucker Football Podcast. It is a Finish Strong Friday presented by DraftKings, America's #1 rated sportsbook app. What do we do on Finish Strong Fridays? I give you my picks for each and every game. I recap what was a very eventful Thursday night. And thanks to Mike Singletary, we give out winners.
I want winners. I want people that want to win.
So do me and Bri, Mike Singletary. So do me and Bri. We want people like spread the word winner Tom Ayer, Ayer. I saw that he retweeted the Fantasy Feast podcast from Wednesday. So Tom, really appreciate it. I think I've seen you retweet a couple other things as well, whether it's at Ross Tucker NFL or at RossTuckerPod. Every social media engagement matters, right? So when you are the little engine that could, fighting uphill against these big podcast media conglomerate things, every little engagement helps. We really appreciate it. Tom, send me an email, ross@rosstucker.com. Let me know exactly what you would like, whether it's a signed picture or a signed football card, or I'm getting more and more signed press passes these days, or press passes I could sign at least. As you can see, if you're watching on YouTube, youtube.com/RossTuckerNFL. I am not in my home setup, as is often the case on a Friday during football season. I am on the road, and in fact, I am in West Point, New York. I am calling the Citadel and Army tomorrow, 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time on CBS Sports Network. So hit me up, ross@rosstucker.com, Tom, as well as Matt Kalashewski. Matt, you are the final Xbox winner, or I'm sorry, final Madden winner. I emailed you the code. Matt sent me like, I don't know, 5 or 6 codes, 3 different emails. Matt wanted the new Madden bad. So congratulations to you, Matt. I like giving it to the people that make it clear that they really want it and it's important to them. So that's who I think. That's kind of how I am in life in general, right? Like I like when people that it matters to the most and care the most end up having success or looking to achieve. And that was certainly Matt Kalashewski sending me 5 or 6 different sponsor confirmations over like 2 or 3 emails. So kudos to you, Matt. The YouTube shout out. Remember, every week I'm going to pick a YouTube subscriber and I'm going to give you a video shout out. In fact, I got to post last week's for Joshua Watt. I'll post that either today or tomorrow, Joshua. So you have that for your daughter, Soph. I think she'll enjoy it. But anyway, Gregory Roy, you're the YouTube subscriber this week that gets a shout out. So if you want me to give a birthday shout out to someone, you want me to just give you a shout out, your fantasy team, your fantasy league, your buddies, whatever it is, man, I'm happy to do it. It's like, kind of like a Cameo style shout out. For those of you that have had me do videos on Cameo, same type of deal, 30, 40 seconds. I'll shout out, say hello to whoever you want. It's kind of fun. So Gregory Roy, congratulations. Everybody can automatically enter that for next week by subscribing at youtube.com/RossTuckerNFL. By the way, while we're on that, really open to any YouTube feedback you guys ever have. So whether it's the Tuckheads on the private Slack channel, patreon.com/RTmedia, or if anyone wants to email me, any feedback you guys have about the YouTube page or social media, really appreciate it. You know, we post all the clips, the highlight clips from our different shows on there. I think if you have notifications turned on, you probably get a notification every time intern Casey posts one of those highlight clips. So if that's too much, let us know. I got one email from a guy that said felt like there was a few too many notifications. So, you know, obviously this is a new thing for us. So very, very welcome to your feedback. It's Big Show time.
The Big Show.
First game of week 5 is in the books. Bears over the Buccaneers 20-19, Ross.
Right. What a huge game. What an eventful game. And I guess I would argue on some level, Bri, what a disappointing game. And I say that because it was the first game that I can remember seeing this year where it felt like the officials dominated the action. You know, through 4 weeks, Bri, the scoring had been way up, the penalties had been way down. That absolutely changed last night. And it was, frankly, really disappointing. This breakdown, by the way, is presented by DraftKings. The betting line for this game was all over the place, from the Bucks laying 5.5 to, at game time, the Bucks were only laying 3 points at DraftKings. And actually on BetSweat, the daily live radio.com show I've been doing from 10 a.m. to noon, I said, you know what? At 3, I would take the Bucks. And obviously I ended up being wrong. It feels like it is a absolutely gigantic swing game for both teams. I mean, the difference between 4-1 and 3-2 is a lot. We're going to look back on it when both these teams are in the thick of the playoff race in their divisions. We're going to remember this game. I mean, this was a huge, huge swing point for both these games. Kudos to the Bears. I mean, Khalil Mack had a big game. Nick Foles had a horrible, horrible start to the game, and then was able to come back and play much, much better and give his team a chance to win. And that's ultimately what matters. It's not, I mean, the Bucks had 340 yards. The Bears had 243. The penalties is what really stuck. Both teams had 3 sacks allowed. The Bucks had 11 penalties. The Bears had 6. And I would say this, Bri, I believe that there were 1 or 2 penalties against the Bears that were bad. That, it was definitely more against the Bucks, and the Bucks got a raw deal in the game. But there were a couple bad calls that went against the Bears too. It was there were multiple fouls called in the game that were not penalties. They just weren't. I mean, it was the Bucks marched on the first drive and had to settle for a field goal. I mean, Foles early in that game, he missed a wide open Allen Robinson for the first down. It was like 3rd and 2, and he missed him by a mile. I thought, oh boy, Foles. Then Carlton Davis got interception off a poorly thrown ball from Nick Foles that went off Allen Robinson's hands. He kind of bounced it up. And then the Bucks were able to march right after that. Rookie Tyler Johnson had a heck of a drive, made a couple plays on the drive. Mike Evans got a touchdown after the refs blew a call on Ronald Jones. Ronald Jones catches a pass, rolls in for a touchdown untouched. They say it's incomplete. I mean, a big miss by the officials. That was one of our first clues that it was going to be a rough, rough night for the officials. Nick Foles missed a wide open Darnell Mooney. Would have been a touchdown. I actually did 2 of Darnell Mooney's games last year at Tulane. He is fast. And anyway, he missed him for a touchdown by a mile. But then after that, there was a kickoff return. I think it was 10-0, or that might have been 13-0. Yeah, 13-0. And there was a nice kickoff return by Cordero Patterson. And Foles finally started to get hot. Foles finally started to get into a rhythm, and he marches them all the way down for a touchdown. Then one of the key plays of the game, really, Bri, Brady throws the ball to rookie running back Keyshawn Vaughn. And Kyle Fuller absolutely destroys Keyshawn Vaughn. So on the field, the officials, I called it an incomplete pass and threw a flag on Fuller. It was not a flag. It was a perfect hit. It was textbook. And I've said over and over again over the years how important it is that they don't throw the flag on legal hits, because it's important that people have an example of what to do. and an example that you can still deliver a vicious blow without it being illegal. So kudos to the officials. They huddled, probably talked to New York and said, oh no, that was actually a legal hit. Okay. And then the replay, I think Nagy threw the challenge flag, if memory serves, and they realized it was a fumble. Keyshawn Vaughn, it was his third step. Now, I think you could debate early on whether or not he really had possession. Mike Pereira did not think that they would overturn it because it was kind of moving around a little bit until he finally tucked it away. But I was okay with that call. That didn't kill me. And then Jimmy Graham made an unbelievable touchdown catch. As I mentioned, the Bears got lots of officiating breaks. I mean, officials were calling penalties left and right. The Jensen personal foul was not even close. The Kappa fumble, the Shaq Barrett roughing the passer. I mean, honestly, I don't really care who won the game, but the Bucs got a raw deal. There's just no way around it. Kudos to the Bears, though, for taking advantage of it. Foles had clutch throws late in the game to get the game-winning Cairo Santos field goal. And Tom Brady did not appear to know it was fourth down at the end of the game, which is a major, major faux pas. I guess, I saw a headline where he says after the game he did know it. I don't know how that could be the case. It seems to me like it's pretty clear he did not know that it was fourth down, and maybe he would not have made that throw. Maybe he would have made the same throw, and it doesn't make a difference, and it's just a bad look. Donovan Smith was disappointing for the Bucs. Anyway, so the whole segment was presented by DraftKings. It went under. Games have not been going under the total 45, but it was the penalties. Almost every drive, it felt like the Bucs had 3rd and 27 or 3rd and 17. The Bears a couple times had that too because of penalties or whatever. Very, very disappointing. I think I've mentioned that enough. And it was a Thursday night game, Bri, which can also be seen on Amazon.
Hey, football fans, are you an Amazon Prime member? Did you know you can watch Thursday Night Football live on Prime Video? Yeah, it's the future of football. You can catch all the action on any device, almost anywhere in the world. Choose your favorite announcer, including Troy Aikman and Joe Buck, Bucky Brooks and Daniel Jeremiah from Move the Sticks, Chris Long and Kerry Champion from NFL Next. Get next-gen stats and watch in-game replays on demand, all within Prime Video's X-Ray. Next-gen stats are real-time stats powered by AWS. No more waiting around. You can access the current stats anytime. Need to check how your fantasy player is doing? This is the ideal way to stay up to speed. In-game on-demand replays are accessible on your remote, on Fire TV, or by turning your mobile device sideways. So if you're a streamer or simply want the most custom way of watching Thursday Night Football, tune in live every Thursday starting October 8th. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. and kickoff is at 8:20 Eastern on Prime Video. Also available on Fox and NFL Network. NFL Network simulcast is subject to change. Thursday Night Football is presented by Bud Light Platinum.
Want to know which team is going to win every single game on Sunday? Then listen up.
Well, let's start, Ross, with the Rams at Washington.
Yeah, and let's also say, if you don't go and watch youtube.com/RossTuckerNFL to see what I do during the Amazon pre-recorded read, you're missing out. I just invented different dance moves. I think I showed the inside of my mouth. You got to go to youtube.com/RossTuckerNFL just to see what do I do during the Amazon pre-recorded reads. All right, Bri. Rams Washington football team. It's amazing, by the way, isn't it, Bri, how many things we've had to change recently? Las Vegas Raiders, Los Angeles Rams, Los Angeles Chargers, Washington football team. I mean, it had probably been 15, 20 years since we had to do anything like that. And now it's 4 in the last 4 years. where like literally the name of the team has changed, either the first part or the second part. Anyway, I'm intrigued by this game now, of course, now that Dwayne Haskins has been benched and now that Alex Smith is the backup. Curious to see how Kyle Allen does, and curious to see if Kyle Allen really does poorly if they really put Alex Smith in a game. I think I said this yesterday. I really did not think that Alex Smith would ever put that leg back in harm's way. I would not. Based on the Stephania Bell video, I absolutely would not. With all the kids he's got several kids. He's made so much money. It's just not, it would not be worth the risk to me. It's Alex's life. I think he's trying to prove a point, and I think that there's a lot of good life lessons there. But this is right to the point where I would have potentially taken it, to the point where I could be in a football game and Aaron Donald could be coming at my legs. No, wouldn't do it. There's that leg's been through enough trauma already. I'll be, Kyle Allen evidently knows the system better than does Dwayne Haskins. I'm curious to see how he does. Really curious. I think Washington plays better. I think they're able to keep it close. If you remember, the Rams did not play all that great last week against the Giants. So I think Washington's going to be able to keep this one close. I won't pick them to win it, though. I'll say 23-17, the Rams.
Philadelphia Eagles at the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Battle of the Keystone State.
It is the Battle of the Keystone State. And by the way, if you haven't checked it out yet, I'm going to ask you guys to please check out a video I posted last night to Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. I guess the Instagram video cuts off after a minute. It's a minute and a half. It was a video I did and do feel very, very strongly about. And I think it's, well, I don't want to spoil it. I think you guys should check it out at Ross Tucker NFL, Twitter, as well as Facebook. Maybe I'll even put it up on YouTube. Anyway, I have a tough time picturing the Eagles being able to get this done. You never know how a team comes off of a bye, especially a surprise bye. So potentially the Steelers might be rusty. I think it's a tough matchup for the Eagles' revamped offensive line that, as Lane Johnson in and out of the lineup, they essentially have one starter remaining, and that's Jason Kelce. They basically lost 5 starters because they lost the left tackle twice, Andre Dillard and Jason Peters. And then to go up against that Steelers D-line, that's rough, man. That's really, really rough. So I think that'll be tough for the Eagles. I do think their D-line might be able to slow down the Steelers. I think this is a low-scoring game. I think I'll go Steelers 20, Eagles 17. I think it's a hard-fought game, but I think the Steelers win that game in the end.
Arizona Cardinals at the New York Jets.
Yet another game with intrigue because the Cardinals have not played very well at all. Not at all. The last couple weeks, and the Jets have a new quarterback in Joe Flacco. And boy, wouldn't it be something if the Jets played a lot better and the Jets put a bunch of points up? Wow. I mean, that would be very interesting to see what the week is like in New York and with the Jets. I don't really expect that to happen. I think the Arizona Cardinals will go out there, and I think they'll play well, and I think they'll certainly be good enough to beat the Jets. I don't think I would take Arizona as a survivor pick based on how they did the last couple weeks. So I'll take Arizona to win this game 27-17 by 10.
The Las Vegas Raiders at the Kansas City Chiefs.
The Raiders were competitive last week against the Bills. They moved the ball well. They're still a little bit beat up. The Chiefs, you're just not going to get a C performance from them very often. You're not going to get back-to-back games where the Chiefs don't play well. That's why I think that they will play well. The Raiders defense still leaves a lot to be desired. 31-20, Kansas City.
Next game, it's Jacksonville at Houston.
Wow. Another game, Brian, where you really have intrigue, right? Like, how are the Texans going to play in the post-Bill O'Brien era? How are the Texans going to do now that they got rid of Bill O'Brien and they have an interim coach in Romeo Crennel? And I believe they'll get a little boost. I think they'll get the interim head coach boost. And I think the Texans win this game. Jags have left a lot to be desired the last couple of weeks. They kind of are who we thought they would be coming into the season now. So I'll take Houston to win the game 27-20. I think Houston wins by a decent amount.
Cincinnati Bengals at the Baltimore Ravens.
It's an interesting one, Bri, because the Baltimore Ravens, Lamar Jackson's missed the last couple of days of practice. He's got a knee issue and he's got an illness. Now, he's supposed to play, but I guess if you're the Bengals, I would stop the running backs and make Lamar Jackson run, right? Like, make him prove that he's healthy and can play and can run at a high level. He misses practice back-to-back days. It's never happened before. I'd make him prove it if I were the Bengals. Now, that could be dangerous. He can go for 70 yards, but, you know, if he missed practice a couple days because his knees bothering him, is he as willing to run? We're about to see. This is one of the negatives of that offense where you run the quarterback as much as you do. Joe Burrow seems to give the Bengals a chance in every game with his slinging, kind of swashbuckling style. He's very fun to watch. I think ultimately the Ravens win the game 30-23, but I think it's closer than, you know, the folks out there in Vegas, or in particular the DraftKings Sportsbook, how they've set the lines. I think it's closer than they believe. I also think now more than ever, it's important to show support for your team and your community. Visa and the National Football League know that local businesses help your community move the ball down the field. Small businesses everywhere are overcoming challenges in these new times thanks to teammates like you and Visa. Because when everyone pitches in, everyone benefits. Being loyal to local businesses ignites growth and supports all of us and our communities, because they know that where you shop matters. Visa urges you to support local retailers who are making shopping safe and reliable. And remember, tap to pay with a contactless Visa wherever you see the contactless symbol to help support your community. Visa, official partner of the NFL.
Carolina Panthers at the Atlanta Falcons.
Right, and this is a game where the betting line at DraftKings had been 3 points. The Carolina Panthers were getting. It's all the way down to 1 last time I checked, and that makes sense because I believe the Carolina Panthers win the game outright. Now, it's not much of an underdog, Bri, but it's still technically an underdog. Anytime you take an underdog, someone that's getting points to win the game outright, it's an underdog. So when I'm finished talking, you can let the doggies out. I'll just say Falcons on a short week. Falcons know the season's over. I still don't know if Julio Jones plays or not. Carolina's won 2 in a row. They're confident. They're feeling good about themselves. They're young. They're hungry. I believe for those reasons, they get the win. I'll take Carolina to win. Let's say I'll go 30-27, actually, Bri. A pretty high-scoring game because that's kind of the games the Falcons tend to play. So pretty high-scoring game. And ultimately, I'll take the Panthers. I'm trying to pull up to make sure they are still – yeah, they're still getting 1.5, so let the doggies out.
Ross's Underdog of the Week.
Miami Dolphins at the San Francisco 49ers.
Miami Dolphins. So I think, I'll be curious to see how the Dolphins play. Fitzpatrick had not a great game last week. He usually bounces back and plays better. I think Jimmy Garoppolo's starting, but I haven't even seen that confirmed anywhere, which is interesting. Either way, I think the Niners get it done. I don't expect them to lose back-to-back games at home. I'll take San Francisco 24-20 over the Dolphins. Good game, though.
Dallas Cowboys and the New York Giants.
It doesn't look good right now for the Cowboys, Brian. With Tyron Smith, their starting left tackle. Looks like he might have to have neck surgery and sit out the rest of the year. He has really, I mean, have you ever seen the guy? He looks like exactly what you want a left tackle to look like. But he's had a lot of ailments. And, you know, he's like me, Brian. It's been, I mean, nothing genetically in terms of how we look, but he's had back issues. Now he's having neck issues. Every player, I'm convinced, has some body part that's just not the best body part for them, right? Like mine was spine. Some guys, it's knees or shoulders or hips or ankles. Mine was spine, my back and my neck. Same with Tyron Smith. I still think even if he doesn't play, I highly doubt he will. I think the Cowboys win, but this is a dangerous game for them because the Giants played better last week. I'll take the Cowboys to win the game 24-20. Again, I think I went back-to-back 24-20 over the Giants.
Indianapolis Colts at the Cleveland Browns.
Really looking forward to this game. And it's cool to really be looking forward to a Colts-Browns game. But they're both 3-1. It's kind of like the Bucs-Bears last night. You know, the winner of this one is in a really good spot at 4-1. I like the Browns. You know, they're playing at home. It's not that much of a factor, but I think their offense is really clicking on all cylinders. The Colts offense is not clicking on all cylinders. Colts defense is playing great. It'll be nice to see. We're going to get to find out right away whether or not the Cleveland Browns, whether or not the Browns offense or the Colts defense wins the day. And I'll say it's kind of a tie, but ultimately the Browns win. I'm going to say 23-20, another game right in that window. So it sounds like we could be getting some unders this week based on me, but I always kind of underrate the amount of points in games.
Sunday Night Football, the Minnesota Vikings at the Seattle Seahawks.
The Minnesota Vikings. I think the Vikings actually have a chance to win this game. I don't think they're going to, but I think this would be an upset pick because I think they're going to be able to score with the Seahawks. I think this one, I won't underrate this one. This one is going to be 31-28, 35-34, something like that. This is a high-scoring game. Ultimately, I'll take Russell Wilson to pull it out late instead of Kirk Cousins. But I think it's a high-scoring game. Neither defense playing very well. Both offenses playing very well. Back and forth affair. Ultimately, I will take the Seahawks 35-34. Could be a good game, by the way, to check out on NFL Game Pass because it's going to be high-scoring. It's going to be back and forth. This is probably going to be one that if you fall asleep Sunday night, you wake up Monday morning because you want to catch everything that happened in the game with the condensed versions on NFL Game Pass. Plus, it's just nice for those of you that like additional content during the week. The NFL Game Pass film sessions where like Stephon Gilmore and Devontae Adams tell you what they're thinking when they're in coverage or running their route. Go to NFL.com/Game Pass to start your free trial today. Again, NFL.com/Game Pass. NFL Game Pass, where football never stops.
First of two Monday night games again. Denver at New England.
Right, a 5 o'clock Eastern Monday night football game pushed back a day because of Stephon Gilmore. What I don't really understand about that is I guess they're waiting for a couple days to make sure they have a couple days of clear, nobody else tests positive, and then they can practice Saturday and Sunday and then have the game Monday, I guess. I think that is what the logic is. It's interesting to hear that Stephon Gilmore had dinner with Cam Newton. That's how you get it. That seems to be a much more likely way to get it than playing football or in the facility, unless you break the protocol like the Tennessee Titans did. I like the Patriots to win the football game, even without Stephon Gilmore. Sounds like Cam will be back. That's a big difference. I don't think Brett Rippon or Drew Lock off of injury is ready for that smoke. Patriots 23, Broncos 17.
Monday night again, Chargers at the Saints.
So Justin Herbert's officially been named the starter for the Chargers. Not much of a surprise there. He's their first round pick. He's the number, whatever it was, 6th pick overall, 5. He's played extremely well. No surprises really there. And I think this is a high scoring game. You know, the Chargers defense has been a little bit disappointing, I guess. I think after that Chiefs game, I thought they'd play better. The Saints will find a way to move the ball. They typically do. I think the Chargers will have some success, unless this is like the Saints' breakout game defensively. I'm going to go Saints 31, Chargers 27.
And it's not that common that we talk about Tuesday night football, Buffalo at Tennessee.
Yeah, so I guess if the Titans have more positives today, that perhaps they would cancel this game. Do you know, Brian? I think that's my understanding. Are you guys still doing the game on radio?
No. So last night, once we got word that Buffalo, Tennessee officially moved, then we pivoted and sent a crew to. We're going to send a crew to Houston. So I'm going to see the Jags and Texans.
Got it. So, yeah, I mean, here's what I would say about that. Because if this game's Tuesday, that means the Thursday night game I was supposed to call with the Chiefs and the Bills is moved back to Sunday. And so now I will not be calling that game. So essentially, the Tennessee Titans' carelessness and recklessness has cost me some money and the opportunity to call an awesome Bills-Chiefs game. So very, very, very disappointing. Very disappointing. And it's not about me. I'm just telling you guys, full transparency, little inside baseball. That's what happened. It's moved back to Sunday. Because it moved back to Sunday, Western One's not doing the game. And so I miss out on a fun event and the compensation for that game. Very disappointing. It's not the route I would have gone, but I understand that right now they need to do, they don't want to forfeit the games because the players don't get paid. Totally respect that. They're trying to figure it out. I get it. But now that there's even more evidence of the Titans being reckless in another off-site workout, to me, that's like 3 strikes and you're out. But that's what they're doing. So, it's funny. I feel like a lot of people are going to be rooting against the Titans now this year. It's hard to imagine them being in great shape and greatly prepared to play the Bills. I guess I could say the same thing about the Patriots against the Broncos. But I like the Bills to win the game because the Titans aren't even practicing yet. And we'll see what happens with their tests coming back today. But I like the Bills to win the game. I think it'll be a good game, but I just don't know what to expect from the Titans after missing all these practices. So Buffalo 27. Buffalo 24, Tennessee 20. The Bills get the win. I didn't really give out a survivor pick, Bri. I didn't really love any of them. I think you could go Dallas. You could go Arizona as survivor picks. You could certainly go Baltimore or Kansas City. I think I probably already used them, and you probably have as well. But there's a bunch of different survivor picks you could take there. Shout outs, by the way, to all of our peeps. I saw some of the guys on our private Slack channel, Tuckheads or patreon.com/RT Media. They said Vision Comics is really cool. So I was happy to hear that. Shout out SteakhouseSports.com, Sporticulture, DynastyFreaks.com, Pizza Boy Brewing. Also a shout out to Shop Local with Visa to help support your community because where you shop matters. Visa, everywhere you want to be. If you didn't already, check out the College Draft Podcast with Emery or Fantasy Feast with Joe, even Money with Steve. Plenty more
And I guess I'm just going to finish it off here with Ross frozen on the screen. It is time to say, I think we're done here.
Thanks for listening to the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. Make sure to also subscribe to the Fantasy Feast, Even Money, Business of Sports, and College Draft. All available at Apple Podcasts, RossTucker.com, or wherever podcasts can be